Alright, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. This is one of my Ficus Microcarpa. It's about one of the only trees I feel really comfortable doing a whole lot of work on now. One of the only type of trees I feel comfortable doing a whole lot of work on. There's a couple more I might be able to get in the next few weeks. My theory is here in December, even though I'm in the tropics, we'll have less and less light all the way up until the first day of winter, which is usually the 21st or the 22nd. And then we'll start having more and more light. So even now, I plan on pruning this guy pretty hard and get some wiring on it. It's going to have less and less light to deal with until it starts having more light. But I do think it's built up plenty of energy. As a matter of fact, I had different plans for this guy. I worked this guy pretty hard. June 16th, I did make a video of it, and I just happen to have still some of the footage from it. So I'm going to show you a clip from the beginning of the video here. And a little bit from the end after I had it all defoliated and everything. And then that's what I'm going to talk about now. Is my theory at that time is I had let the tree go for a long time. You can see at the beginning there how big those leaves were. And then I was going to defoliate it and then let it recover like just a little while. I actually had planned on letting it recover for about a month, and I figured those branches would just get super long because I left every growing tip, and I thought that those would be the only part that would really grow. Just, like I said, it was a theory. And I've actually, even heard, other people say that with this type of microcarpa, that if you just defoliate it, the leaves will, the growing tips will just keep going and make bigger and bigger leaves. But you can see it actually does have quite a bit smaller leaves, and that's because of all the back budding that happened after that, which wasn't entirely a bad thing. It's just kind of derailed my plans or slowed down my plans a little bit. I figured, sometime in July or August, I'd get in and give it a good hard cutback and do this wiring that I plan on doing today. But it really did. When I turn it that way, it goes up out of the picture for a bit. I'll fix those angles in a second here. But when I did do that defoliation, it really not only did it continue growing out of those spots, but it really did back bud quite a bit, and I had a lot more to work with. So it was actually a good thing. I just had to kind of deal with it a little bit different afterwards because it didn't really work out exactly the way I planned. So I'm going to go ahead and do most of that today. All right, changed the angle up a little bit, got you guys a little bit of a closer look. I'm going to go ahead and start right here. This is going to take quite some time. I'm sure I'll have to edit a bit, maybe even time-lapse a little. Hopefully I can pick some music nobody complains about. But let's get in here and get to work. Before I get too deep into doing any time lapse or anything like that, did want to just point out that today I do intend on getting every growing tip. If I would have done that in June, I think this thing would even have smaller leaves. Of course, it would be even more compact than it is, which I don't really know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, let me get back to work. Stop running my mouth. a branch hanging down in front of this, but I just did want to show you, this is what, you know, a healing up wound should look like. It's got the good tissue there, and then just a little bit of dead wood in the middle, and eventually, you know, this thing will, you know, just kind of continue rolling over. Once it's rolled over completely, you know, eventually it'll look a little more like the bark. It won't be smooth, but it'll be rolled over, and it won't have the dead wood showing, as opposed to this one, where this one, it's getting the good growth coming off that way, where it's kind of rolling over some. This branch isn't quite up at the edge of it, and it's quite a bit thicker than that other wound I just looked at. So I'm going to work a couple of these with the Dremel first. One other thing to point out, that other one is right back here and has growth above it, where the apical growth will also make it roll over quicker, where these two have the wounds out to the side. This one's getting upper growth on it, but it's still to the side of the actual wound. That's why that one's not rolling over quicker. Not only that, it's not big enough. Alright, so that about does it. What I do is it's hard for me to get it on cameras. My hand is always going to be right in front of there. But I just kind of hollow out that a little more. And then I take my knife and just kind of scrape it through until you see some green around the edges. Now that should continue rolling through. You can see even here's the beginning of the wound up here. And I was able to just kind of leave that. Now that'll just kind of continue rolling over and hopefully look a little more like its little friend back here. Alright, so I got the wire on there. I think it's looking pretty good. I think I can show you here, like I did try to get wire on each and every branch, but like when you anchor, you know, this branch had 2 tertiary branches, and you anchor it to a stronger branch, and then like I noticed sometimes when I try to get the thinner wire on this piece here, I wind up snapping those off. You can see some up here. So I wasn't too worried about getting to the end of each and every little twig. I didn't really want to break too many of those. I hope they don't really burst with too much growth and, you know, cause any unevenness or anything like that. But I did try to, you know, like these here, these lower branches here, I tried to take some of them, you know, I'm going to create some different levels here. Like this one's going to go up a little bit higher, and I took this one down and this one down. Took this one over here to fill in some negative space. Last thing I'll do, I got this little branch here. I've been hanging on to it, didn't really have anything to wire to, and now at this point I think that it'll never really look like it's a believable older part of the tree, even though when these grow in the wild they actually will get crazy shoots down low anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Should go ahead and just free up the trunk. You can see the trunk a little bit better. You know, not much of a twig now, but when that gets the big fig leaves on there, kind of covers it up. And then this one too. Again, just kind of open the trunk up a little bit. Really looking forward to see what this looks like in the spring.